So if I don't have a proper system, that whether that's email, text, could be even mail, to follow up, that deal could be worth 3, 5, 7 grand to me. Why not spend an extra 5, 10, 20 minutes to set them up into a sequence that then hopefully when they're thinking about solar, they talk to their mom, they really sat and stewed on it, I'm the first person they want to call. What's up guys, Sam Taggart here with the DDD Experts, and I sold solar for 2 years plus and managed over 100 sales reps in solar, and I'm going to give you simple 4 tips on how to sell solar. If you haven't got access to our online solar training university, make sure you go check that out with DDDU, and the links are below. So in this video, we're going to go over simply how do you manage a neighborhood effectively when you're out prospecting, and how do you really milk that neighborhood. Number 3 would be, how do you go present and pitch somebody, cold call somebody, whether that's knock on their door or cold call them based on targeted demographics. And then how do you go do the follow-up that's going to be effective on the deals that don't close same day or the deals that don't get into, just don't say yes right away. So first one is really, how do you find a neighborhood to go start working? So the first thing I'm gonna look at is where there's already solar. I mean, there's like 6 homes in my neighborhood that all have solar. And you ask yourself, you're like, okay, if they have solar and the neighbors all have solar, the real question is proximity. Why don't all the other neighbors have solar? They've got some references that I can use. So I'm looking for neighborhoods that have a good amount of solar in them. If there's no solar in a neighborhood, what you're doing is you're fighting an uphill battle of just saying, I'm building the trust and I'm gonna have to find some guinea pigs that feel like they have to take a risk. And it's not that solar's foreign to everybody, but when their neighbors all have it, it's kind of like, did you not get the memo? So I'm looking for areas that have a little bit of saturation. Number 2, so I approach these homes where they've got solar, and I'm gonna leverage the fact that we've got some momentum in the area. So even though it wasn't me necessarily that set them up, the neighbors, it might be me leveraging, hey, I talked to your 3, 4 neighbors. You might know John Smith and Timmy Grover, whatever, like whoever this is. And I'm gonna say, I'm sure they've talked to you about why they went solar, right? And they're like, no. You're like, oh, really? Like everybody's been buzzing about it. I'm sure you've seen like most things are moving electric, right? Like electric cars and electric homes and everything's going that way because it's more cost effective and it helps the planet. And so you've kind of like built this, are you behind the times? Like almost shocked or like, I'm assuming you know about this technology. And then be like, the reason why you probably never got it was just really expensive, isn't it? It's like just so expensive. Like people are like, man, to spend $30,000 on this, that's just expensive. And so you kind of bring in this like, I know you haven't gotten it just because of the money. So it tees you up in a way to say, if the money was made sense, you're not against helping the planet and solar's an obvious win. So kind of establish that problem and that solution, which I've overcome some of the objections that they're probably gonna approach me with, which is, oh, we've already looked into it. Oh, we're not interested. Oh, it doesn't make sense. Oh, it's too expensive. I overcame all of those in that simple approach. Now, when I go to close these people, the next tip would be, obviously I'm trying to get that same day appointment or go into their home maybe the next day, set up a time where I can run the proposal, I can get the information, and then give that to them and close them. But that's not always the case. So let's talk about how you actually manage a pipeline in solar. Now, most you should have some kind of CRM. If you don't, go get your own CRM. I don't care if you're using an Excel spreadsheet, whatever, but have a CRM, but having the studious like actual data inputs into your knocking app and your CRM is gonna make you a much better sales rep. And what do I mean by this? When I'm working a neighborhood, my goal is not to just run through this neighborhood and sell as get through it as fast as possible. My goal is to camp out in a neighborhood as long as possible. Meaning, I might talk to this neighbor 4 times, meaning I got no, and then I like set up a few of the other neighbors. Then I go back to them again. I was like, hey, I know I caught you at a bad time. That's usually how I approach somebody after I've talked to them once, maybe a month ago. And I talked to them again. I'm like, hey, I just didn't want to leave you out. You saw that we were there across the street 2 days ago and you saw the trucks, or you see these guys up installing on your neighbor's house. Like he just was insistent that I came and talked to you again and didn't want to leave you out. So stuff like that's going to help bring some some more bandwagon. And then usually by the third time, fourth time, they're like, okay, what do you got? It's like, I'm gonna keep coming back until I at least get to sit down with you and we can either check you off the list of like, it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. So I'm reworking my neighborhood because I would rather have a much more condensed, saturated area than be all over the city and I'm going all over the map, driving to appointments, follow up, knocking around my builds. Like, it's just inefficient. All my time spent driving, not time spent mining people and working those little tight-knit networks and circles. So that's a huge tip, an area strategy. So if I'm not taking notes of saying when I talked to them, what the response was, what went down, what time of day did I knock it, I'm not gonna know, and I'm gonna feel like this area is shot, when reality is the top solar reps know that there's so much more meat on that bone. So the last tip is the follow-up. Now, we've created a software called vanillamessage.com. If you have not gotten Vanilla, I promise you it's something you're gonna do as a solar rep. It's probably the highest customer base that we have are solar reps. And what they do is that you build out a texting follow-up campaign based on dispositions. You can do this with email, you can do this with other systems, but the reality is text is the most efficient. So let's say somebody says, hey, not right now, or hey, maybe in 6 months, or hey, I'm moving, whatever that is, you have a text sequence that's going to hit them in 3 days, in 10 days, in 20 days, in 3 months, in 6 months that you've built out that's basically keeping them top of mind. Now, it's not just like, hey, are you gonna get it now? Hey, you're gonna get it now? Hey, you're gonna get it now? No, I wanna build out a little bit of value, give, then ask. Give, then ask. So if I don't have a proper system that, whether that's email, text, it could be even mail, to follow up, that deal could be worth 3, 5, 7 grand to me. Why not spend an extra 5, 10, 20 minutes to set them up into a sequence that then hopefully when they're thinking about solar, they talk to their mom, they really sat and stewed on it, I'm the first person they want to call. And I watch solar reps leave so much meat on the bone just due to improper follow-up because the natural tendency is we all have ADD as sales reps. We're not really good organizers. So I want to build the system, then I can just press a few buttons and it just does it automatically and I don't have to think about it. I want to be making money in my sleep. And that's what things like Vanilla Message does for you. So just click the link below and I'll give you a simple demo or whatever. But the reality is we're here to help you go make more in sales and go make more in solar. You're in a great industry. And I know sometimes it gets discouraging because the promise is there to make a ton of money, but maybe you haven't seen the checks come in. Don't get discouraged. It's something about consistency and not putting your foot off the gas when it comes to building a pipeline. I watch too many people that have a bag of maybes that they're carrying around and they're saying, well, I got all these prospects, and they stop prospecting. Prospects means you can't close. I want to have closed deals and new prospects. Closed deals, new prospects. But never stop prospecting. Never stop getting new people and new blood into your pipeline, because if you have this big pipeline, that just shows me that you aren't a good closer. I want a yes, a no, not a bag of maybes. So hopefully you got some tips out of this. Like this, comment, maybe ask some questions in the description. And we're here to share a ton of value. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more trainings on solar, on door-to-door, on mindset, on how to recruit. We have tons of trainings here to help this industry. Again, Sam Taggart. Hope to see you guys on the next video.